This is Letitia Cooper, and you are watching Eliot Kelly TV. Never lose your passion.
It's very important that whatever we do, we add value to the company, but also we give our clients or their clients something that they like.
Welcome to another dynamic episode of Eliot Kelly TV. I have my guest with me today, Mr. Lucas Caneda. He is a professional rugby player. Our topic today is scaling engagement via digital and traditional marketing. Welcome to Eliot Kelly TV, Lucas.
Hey, Eliot. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me at your show.
Good stuff. Before we go into the tips and tricks around digital as well as traditional marketing, share with us your story, please, Lucas.
Sure. So I'm Argentinian. I've been a rugby fan forever, and I've been playing the sport for so long. I always wanted to become a professional athlete. So I worked my word hard for that. And back in 2015, I had the opportunity to come to France, which is where I'm currently living, to become a professional rugby player, and I've been ever since 2015. So far so good. And in the last couple of years, I've also decided that I wanted to do something else apart from just playing rugby. So I've joined Unicorn Incubator. I work hand by hand with the CEO, and we work with startups. We found our own, and we work our way through that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. Tell us a little bit about Unicorn Incubator and, of course, how you started in that area.
Sure. So Unicorn is the first incubator in Sarlat, a small town in France. We are 65 people from at least 25 different nationalities working here. We've got a big team. Our biggest core focus is on digital marketing, as you've said, customer acquisition and investors relationships. Those are the 3 points that we focus the most. Of course, we do help startups with, depending on the stage, with the legals and accounting when needed. But our main focus is more on the, let's call it, acceleration process that comes after. That's where we really like to participate. So we do ask ourselves a couple of questions before we decide to work with people. We look at startups the American way. So we do like to have a proof of concept, a couple of clients, and also a proof of investment. Because at that stage, we really can make an impact, and that's what we are really looking for.
You touch on having some skin in the game. How important is that for entrepreneurs to have some skin in the game?
Well, I think it's crucial to success because first and foremost, if you have not been able to convince a couple of clients, how are you going to convince 1,000 or 10,000? Same with investors. If you're not able to convince someone close to you, a friend of yours, a family member, to invest in what you're doing, how can you approach an incubator, an accelerator? How can you approach a funding raise? It's very hard. So it gives you the preparation, gives you the mentality that you need for the next phase, and better do it sooner than later. And yeah, those are the things that we usually ask for whenever we're working with someone.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. What is the greatest challenge for marketers today?
I do really think about the funnel, and the way we work it is, yes, we can bring the people on the top of the funnel, but the most interesting thing is how do you take the friction away from that funnel to actually convert? And that's the main focus, in my opinion, when you're a marketer, that's what you really need to be looking for. I don't know if you've got a different opinion. I would like to hear it too.
No, I totally agree. Attraction marketing is something that we focus on. So we don't necessarily, I mean, the traditional, as we speak about traditional and digital, the traditional model was built on going out there and knocking on doors. While that forms an aspect of what we do, it is not our core focus. And I think that's the major nuance between the new age of marketing. Whereas, like I said, again, the funnel is kind of flipped on its head. So there is still a funnel. There are still the fundamentals, as a lot of the authors share, still the fundamentals. Like Jim Rohn, he's an advocate of that. I think automatically of Tom Hopkins, who also shares some of the strategies around attraction marketing. And then value generation is something that we're big on. So again, it's not opposed to what you're sharing, but I think it works well with saying value generation. Once you're creating value, we've found, and in my personal experience in our companies and the companies that we work with, their greatest successes came when they were creating and generating value, not only for themselves, but specifically for their clients. And then
customers.
And that was a trickle back. So that works well for us. And obviously you're sharing the same sentiment. What are you passionate about at this moment in your career?
Well, the thing that I've loved the most is that I'm doing both my passions at the same time. So I keep playing professional rugby, but also I'm the director of our company, and that duality, that having to work through doing both things at the same time, wearing many hats, that's something I really love.
Thank you. How will you be able to say then that there are lessons that you've learned on the rugby pitch that you are able to translate then into your business life? And if there are, share them with us, please.
Yes, indeed. I think I usually speak about this, that the things that you learn through sports, especially as a team sport, you can easily translate into business, probably into life. And that's why what I like to usually make a big focus on, things like teamwork, things like motivation. It's very hard to have a big team and to keep them motivated. And there's different ways of leadership that you need to apply in order to keep them moving, to keep them interested, and to always try and get the best out of each of everyone. And one thing that I've always talked about is that everyone's different and not everyone has the same objectives, feelings, the way they think. So it's very interesting how a good leader can actually identify them and know what is it that they need to keep pushing. Some people need a hug. Let's go. I'll go with you. I'll help you out. And some people need to hear, hey, you're not doing good enough. Focus. To just click and get them more motivated. So I think that's very interesting how good leaders can keep pulling their team into a successful, we call them clusters in here, but yeah.
Thank you. Interesting that you shared that. As a teacher, as a trainer, as a coach, I totally agree with you. You would have one mentee who you'd have to give the entire booklet to, and then they can just go and run with whatever is in the book. And then there's the next person that you may have that may come back to you with a specific chapter or a specific activity that they got stuck on. And then there's someone who may just, shoot for the star right off the bat. And being a good leader, also, it makes you humble because it teaches you that you can't take that cookie cutter approach with clients, whether it's an entire business or with an individual that you're coaching. So you're absolutely right. You spoke about, Lucas, you use a key term there, my favorite word, motivation. What motivates you, Lucas?
It's many things, but becoming a better person, being successful, what I call winning. I know some people take that word the wrong way, but for me, winning is achieving your objectives, and winning does not come with, at least in the business and the life side, it does not come with beating someone up. So you don't need to win, and there's no side losing. for me, winning is reaching your objectives. I've won when I became a professional rugby player, because that was my dream. That was what I was working so hard for. And that for me is winning. And having that winning mentality, that's also another thing that I talk a lot about. The rugby attributes that you can take into business and life is that, I mean, I really hate losing, but I'm serious. And some people, get angry at me but no, I do want to win every single time, because that makes me better. That makes me improve. That makes me a step further into my objectives. And that winning mentality is what I believe that usually takes you the extra mile, allows you to put more effort into what you do, to focus more, and to always be hungry about what you're looking for. And I think that's probably basic if you want to succeed, right?
Yes. Your winning attitude, Lucas, is infectious, I must tell you. And I love it. I love your energy. And I'm so excited that you're going to share with us some of your tips for digital marketers as well as traditional marketers. What are 3 tips that you'd like to share with our audience? They are aspiring. Some of them have had businesses. Some of them have several businesses. Share with us three of your favorite digital marketing or traditional marketing tips.
3 things I would really would like to let people know that we focus a lot on. They're not the only ones, of course, but we do make a good focus on those 3. The first one would be eyeballs. At the end of the day, what clients, what brands are looking for, I think it's eyeballs. It's getting the visibility that they need, they want. So the more people that you bring to them, then the better the campaign would look like. Second thing would be the target audience. I think there's a big difference into setting up a campaign a good way or a bad way, and most of that comes from the target audience. If you are really looking to get high-class investors, for instance, and you are going to launch a campaign on TikTok, that would not make any sense, for instance, because the market is not there. I mean, you really need to focus on what is it that you are looking for, what's the objective of the campaign, and then through that, build the campaign out, not the other way around. And the third thing is one that you mentioned yourself, is creating value. So I completely agree with what you said. And it's very important that whatever we do, we add value to the company, but also we give our clients or their clients something that they like, something that they are able to identify themselves with the brand. I would take an example in that case, because actually we own for the past 18 months the rugby club here in Sarlat. We took over on the commercial side, on the marketing side, the branding, the image. We built the brand, not just a club, but a brand that people can relate with. And one of the things that we focused on is on people that do not know rugby. So, for instance, in the States, there was a research that only 12% of the people knew the rules of rugby. And for us, that was a huge opportunity, because we would focus on the 88% of the people that are missing, that do not know the rules. And how did we do that? So by the means of our club, we brought rugby to them. So we were the first, thanks to social media, since we had 1,500 followers like 10 months ago, now we have 150K. Thanks to streaming agreements, TV stations that are syndicating our content, we managed to bring rugby to them, to teach them rugby, because we created tutorials to explain them the rules, to show them the games, to teach them how to make a pass, how to kick a ball. And those people actually become fans. They become a community because they really like what you're doing, but also you were the ones that brought that content to them and made them rugby fans. And that works wonders.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that I pride myself in, and the comments and the feedback we've been getting across the countries, some persons have been struggling with the mindset of when they do offer that value, how to ask for money. And we keep it very simple. They're happy to offer value. They're happy to create the tutorials that you suggested just now. They're happy to put together an ebook. They're happy to speak live. But when it's time to ask persons to go to the back of the room, for example, you can hear their voice either deflates, or there's a bit of a pause, or there's just that hesitance. There's a mindset that we try to establish, and I'd like you to speak a little bit about mindset as it relates to asking for money after creating value. What are your thoughts?
For me, it's like maths. 2 + 2 gives you 4, right? So you are bringing value to this company, to this team. There's reciprocity in that value that you're creating. That's, in this case, you're talking about money. Sure. I mean, nobody works for free. That's something, that usually some people tend to say, oh, I volunteer. Yeah, but someone's paying for that. You like it or not, there's always someone paying for what you're getting, for what you're not getting. And I think it keeps things clear. There's a say back in Argentina that says that good accounts make good friends.
Yes.
So even if we are good friends, if I owe you money, okay, I'll pay you. And that keeps our friendship. I'm not that basic as a human being, but I'm making this, very easy to follow. But I do think that good accounts make good friends, right? So if I'm adding value to you, to your company, why would you not pay me?
Absolutely. And I think the key word you shared there was reciprocity. Definitely. So you mentioned actually getting those eyeballs, concentrating on your target audience, and you reemphasize the importance of value. Who or what inspires you?
On that front. So actually, the CEO of Unicorn, he's been a marketer for 28 years. And I think he rocks, right? So he sees marketing in such a, let's call it, basic, complicated way that makes everything look so easy on paper. Of course, it's not that easy to make it happen, because if not, everyone would be doing it. But I think he is my mentor when it comes to lots of things. But on the marketing side, I would just rely on him for whatever we do. He just knows his shit better than anyone else that I know.
Absolutely. We find that as a common thread amongst most successful persons. They are extremely good at what they do. And if I were to offer any advice to any of our audience, if you want to make an impression in your field, whether that is arts and craft, whether that is in sports, whether that's in engineering or any of the sciences or non-science, probably you want to write a book or you want to become a coach, aim or develop yourself. Miles Monroe said, don't strive for money, strive to become a person of value.
Eliot, see, because what you've just said reminds me of one of the things that we say a lot. Have you ever heard about it's who and not how?
Yes.
So I think that's exactly what you just said. It's so important that whenever we look at a problem and we're trying to find a solution, it's not the question we should ask ourselves. It's not how am I going to solve this? It's who is the right person? Who is the person that knows this subject the most to actually fix this? If we come back to what we were talking before, when it comes to teams, and delegating those tasks, I think it's very important to know your team very, very well so that you can actually assign or ask them to help or to actually, okay, this is what, take charge, do it because you are better than I. And accepting the fact that someone's better at doing something than yourself allows you to become a lot more effective.
Is cold calling dead? What do you think, Lucas?
I think it's not. I mean, it's harder than we think, but I think companies do it every single time. We still do it ourselves. Of course, the conversion rates are not that high, but what we try to do, for instance, to, let's say, solve that conversion problem is to actually, we call it be as loud as you can. So if you search for Sala Rugby today, you would find tons of articles. You would find social media. You would find press releases, radio interviews, podcasts. You would find lots of things. So if I call you cold and tell you I'm from Sala Rugby, I'm one of the sponsors, managers, I'm looking for companies that would like to get their visibility a lot higher. We've been doing this for this and that. We've got social media growing from 1,500 followers to 150K. We expect that to be double the size by the end of the season. We are building a team that's been cracking everything up. We're 7-0 today because we gave ourselves the means. We built our brand. We are getting the visibility. This are our target markets. We've got streaming platforms, TV stations that are taking our content and allows us to control the ads that go into that segment. We even built ourselves our own TV station, which is called salarugby.tv, and we can have you there and get you this and that. And you actually go. The first reaction would be, even while you're speaking, I would be typing and looking for Sala Rugby, first keyword that pops up into my mind. If I find nothing, I'll probably just say no thank you. But on the other hand, if I find lots of things going on, if I go into a YouTube video that has more than 100,000 views, I say, okay, these guys can actually deliver what they are preaching. And that gets the wheel turning a lot easier. Of course, it's never an easy call. The percentages are a lot less converted that we would call on a hot or a warm call, but I mean, it still works.
I don't think that cold calling is dead. Don't get me wrong. What I do feel is I think most of the proponents of cold calling, I think they give it a one-dimensional or a very limited view of how it should be used. It is a tool in what I would imagine should be one of a set of tools in a tool belt. And you so clearly defined that by the buffet of options that you provided just now when you were sharing. It should not just be we cold call and that's it. You know, and we're gonna base our entire business model on the law of averages. That's only one law. There are other laws that should be at play as you develop in your business. Having said that, it also dismisses the fact of continuous improvement. So there is no continuous improvement discussion if you just focus on the law of averages. If you are going to go around a nightclub and you're going to say, hi, how you doing to 100 girls and just pick up one, your game will never develop. And I just use that as a very, very simple analogy, something that most people can relate to. The idea is continuous improvement changes those percentages that you spoke about just now. Which you may get 10% in the first, you may get 0, and you may move to 10%, and then 10% moves to 12%, 12, 15%, and you get the idea. But the point is, focusing just on the law of averages as the tool on its own, you're probably going to go backwards in time as opposed to being progressive. Knowing what you know now, Lucas, knowing what you know now, is there anything you would have done differently in your professional career?
No, I don't think so. Actually, I mean, I've got no regrets, even though I could have done things better. Yes, sure, who couldn't? But I think that having done everything what I've done brought me here today. made me the person that I am today. I think the struggles, no matter what they are, that you had, that we all have. I mean, that's part of your life, and they build you up in such a way. We usually like to say, Dom, the CEO, and I, is that we know how to take a hit and stand back up. Because I mean, that happened to us so many times in sports, in life, in etc. So you build yourself up on those facts, and I think that's very important to becoming the person that I am today in this case, and to keep working on that, because it's a never-ending progress, as you just mentioned, to try to become a better person, try to improve, try to get more skills, and I mean, there's so many things that we could do.
Thank you. On that note, what does success mean to Lucas?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I do think being 100% honest with what you do and what you say. Family, friends are a key feature in my life. So it's sports and business. And really trying to make your best to make it happen, right? So I'm the one that usually says that leadership should come by example. That's how I try to be myself. I've done it through sports, and that's the way I feel, and I try to do it in everything else. Of course, I do have lots of I do make mistakes, and like everyone else, but I try to lead by example. Just not do what as I say, but do as I do. And yeah, that, and having that passion, finding that passion for me was very important. To really know what I wanted to do allowed me to invest myself into it a lot more. And I do think that people usually struggle to get their passions, that they are doing 9-to-5 jobs, they're not liking it. And I would really encourage everyone to somehow find something, find that fire inside them that allows them to make an extra effort. Because it's very hard to make an effort to dedicate yourself to something that you don't really like. And I think the key to success comes from there. Maybe it's because of my rugby background. I was always told I was too small to become a professional player, because I'm not very big. I'm not very, very strong. So everyone thought that I was never going to make it. And the fact that they've told me that allowed me to keep pushing, right? But since I loved rugby so much and my passion was to become that, I really, really wanted to become a professional athlete. So I said, nothing's going to stop me, but it does not come for free. You need to really work to get it done. I think that applies to everything else.
If you haven't already done so go ahead and smash that share button and that like notification. You know the bell is there for you. If you hit that bell, it will notify you when we drop new content. We are on with Lucas Caneda, and we were sharing on the topic scaling engagement via digital and traditional marketing. We do have a quote today by W. Clement Stone. There is very little difference in people, but that little difference makes a big difference. The little difference is attitude. And that's by W. Clement Stone. We were on with Lucas Caneda here on Eliot Kelly TV. Never lose your passion.